So let's go to Kylian Mbappe. I think let's do that. No, let's finish with the Champions League preview. Kylian Mbappe has re-signed with PSG, and unlike what I did with Erling Haaland last episode and basically break down what he offers to PSG, because we all know that, and that's pretty boring. So let's instead talk about the ludicrous fashion. So if you thought the first half of this podcast was very wholesome and very very nice and very just I love football, this is why I don't like football sometimes. And I am gonna. This is basically just be 20 minutes of me just complaining, because Kylian Mbappe obviously has had contract talks with Real Madrid and has been toing and froing as to whether or not he will actually sign for PSG. It's been talked about for fucking ages, right? And it's been a football story that has gone beyond the point of intrigue. It's gone to the point of just hurry the fuck up and decide, because no one, like, at this stage, it's gone too long that no one really cares. Just pick a team and sign with them, right? Like I said, people just wanted him to make a decision. So when he was like, he's going to re-sign with PSG, everyone's like, oh, thank fuck, it's over. Right? No one really cared, because if he went to Real Madrid, great. I mean, who really cares? They're still going to be good. Like, it's not going to drastically improve them, is it? If you stay to PSG, great, nothing changes. But when the perhaps terms or the clauses in his contract were made public, or at least hearsay were made public, it got me especially very annoyed, and it got a lot of people very annoyed. Now, this is obviously hearsay. This has been reported in quite a few places. I know The Athletic spoke about it ever so briefly, but it's been floating around on Twitter, and this is basically all but confirmed. So, Kylian Mbappe's new 3-year deal at PSG. 300 million euro signing on bonus. Okay. 100 million euro a year salary after tax. Okay. He will help decide the coach. He will have a say on the sporting director. And he can approve signings and sales. Right. Okay. Now, Kylian Mbappe, 22-year-old, 21-year-old, infant child, baby, fetus Kylian Mbappe, has been given the most ludicrous contract in sports history. I would go as far as to say that. He has done something that has just changed the way football will operate from now on. And there's two ways you can look at this, and there's obviously the response, which I'll touch on, by La Liga, and I'll touch on that as well. But Kylian Mbappe, like, everyone would sign that contract. I'm not blaming Mbappe, because if you offer me that contract, yes, I'll take that. Thank you very much. 300 million euro signing on bonus. Thank you very much. Where do I sign, right? I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming Mbappe, because, like I said, any sane person on planet Earth will take that contract. I'm blaming PSG, and I'm blaming the governing bodies that are allowing this to happen, because you cannot. This is destroying the fabric of football. This is destroying the fabric of football. We just spoke about how good the Premier League last day was. And I know the Premier League and Man City and Liverpool, maybe Liverpool to a lesser extent, but Man City, Chelsea as well, are guilty of offering ridiculous contracts and paying ridiculous amounts of money for players. That's fine. But you look at Man City, they have, to an extent, toned it down over the last couple of years. I know they spent 100 million on Jack Grealish. I understand that. But if you look at where they could have gone, they've actually slowed it down a little bit. And it's almost getting to the point where you're looking at 100 million and you're thinking, oh, 100 million? Okay, that's all right. Which is ridiculous, right? Which is utterly absurd. because only a matter of a decade ago, you're thinking Fernando Torres going to Chelsea for 50 million and that's breaking the bank and that's a ridiculous amount of money. And yet, a decade on, we're looking at 100 million and thinking, 100 million, that's all right. Anyway. So you have that. It is destroying competition. It is destroying competition. And once again, not blaming Mbappe because, like I said, any sane person on planet Earth will take that contract. But PSG should not be allowed to offer a blank check. It's a blank check. And as much as we can speak about the contract and as much as we can speak about how absurd it is, because it's obviously utterly ridiculous, obviously. We just need to speak about the intangibles it does to football, and you just need to speak about what it does and how it's going to affect other teams. Because, I mean, let's look at the Europa League. You have Eintracht Frankfurt and Rangers. Let's look at the Champions League. You have Villarreal. You have these sides. I mean, look at the conference. You have Roma and I can't remember who else is in the Conference League final. But you look at these teams who don't have that backing, who are making monumental efforts to get into these competitions, and are lauded for doing so. You look at Leicester City. They won Leicester City's Premier League trophy is the best Premier League trophy there will ever be, unless Brentford win it next season. It is the best Premier League trophy there has ever been. Because they did it with signing Conte for 4 million. They signed Mahrez for 300k or whatever it was. They signed Vardy from non-league or from fucking wherever he was. And we can and it's never gonna happen again. Never gonna happen again. Newsflash, and I'm sorry, and I actually, this hurts me to break the news because I try to speak the truth, but a club like Leicester City are never going to win the Premier League ever again. If you're a Brighton fan, if you're a West Ham fan, if you're a Crystal Palace fan, if you're a Brentford fan, if you're a Wolves fan, you're not winning the league. You're not winning the league. You're not. Unless you get taken over by some country, by a state, unless you're getting taken over by a literal government and by a country, you're not winning the league because the gulf in difference between quality now is absurd. 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 Kylian Mbappe is signing for PSG with 300 million signing on bonus. They're just giving him 300 million as a thank you for staying. That's not even part of his wage. Some clubs aren't even worth 300 million. Some countries aren't even worth 300 million pounds or euros. Like, what are we doing here? Seriously, what are we doing? It's getting beyond the joke. Beyond the joke. You can't expect this way of signing players and this way of keeping players and this way of spending money to be sustainable. And it goes back down to the governing bodies because, what are you doing about this? Because you look at so obviously this didn't happen overnight. There had to be something to cause it. Why wasn't it shut down at the cause? Why couldn't these governing bodies figure out that maybe what was the first big ridiculous signing? Bale for 90 mil to Real Madrid, maybe Neymar. It'd be one of those, right? Either Bale or Neymar, take your pick, maybe, unless there's one that's not coming to my head at the moment. But why couldn't they just stamp it out right then and there? Maybe it was Neymar, because he went to PSG for that money and PSG are the culprits. Maybe it was, but that's not the point. Why couldn't they just stamp it out then and be like, okay, you're spending 100 million on a player, giving him X amount of money a week, whereas poor fucking Lille are paying 30 grand for their top earner or whatever. This can't happen. This can't fly. And it's beyond the point of damage now, because if UEFA fine PSG will take them to court and win, because PSG, let's not forget, are run by a state. They are run by the whole state of Qatar. So no shit they're going to win. That's why Man City, when Man City were going to be expelled from the Champions League or like a couple of seasons ago for whatever they did, I can't remember what they did, but they took UEFA to court, and no shit they're going to win because they have literally infinite amount of money. UEFA have to realize that they're the governing body of these teams, yet these teams actually hold more power than them. That's simple facts. Simple facts. And we're going to get to a stage in the near future. In the very, very near future, we're going to get to a stage where every single club in Europe, or most clubs in the European football, have more power than UEFA. Because they're going to be bought out by Saudi Arabia, by Qatar, by the UAE, by who knows where, who knows what country. Just like Newcastle. Newcastle, bang, more power than UEFA right now. Any sanction that UEFA or the Premier League or the FA give to Newcastle, they'll take them to court and they will bang. See, by that court case done, we're free of every sanction. Because they can, because they have infinite amount of money. And they can do this. PSG can do this because they know what are the repercussions going to be. What are you going to do? We can offer Mbappe literal infinite amount of money. The bloke's 16th generation from this point onwards are set financially for their lives. So what is the point? What is the point of, I literally said 10 minutes ago in this podcast, how good's football? What's the point of football now if we're just going to let PSG give a blank check to every player and be like, all right, sign it? Because what are UEFA going to do? What are FIFA going to do? What, sue them? Lol. All right, I'll just hire a better lawyer and just pay a better lawyer and just pay a better team and pay a better legal team and win. Because that's how it works. It's almost getting beat to the point of what's the point? Because like I said with Mbappe before, it went on for too long, so everyone was just sign with someone. Who cares? No one cared when except for Real Madrid and PSG fans, no one cared when Mbappe re-signed because it was gone. It was beyond the point of it's gone on for too long. Who cares? Just sign with someone. So this is over. So we can move on. Yet, we still find something to be angry about because of the ridiculous and utterly absurd nature of the contract. It's what are we doing here? What are we doing here? It is creating a gulf in class which is almost beyond the point of repair. And we are subconsciously going towards I don't think it'll be a Super League. I don't think it will, because I feel like that will be, people will just stop watching football. But we are slowly moving to a way of football which is controlled not by governing bodies, not by the fans, but by clubs. And not only by clubs, but by states. We are almost just sleepwalking our way to that. I don't think it'll be a Super League. I know people saying on Twitter as well, but a lot of people are saying, we're going to a Super League now. I don't think we are. Because I feel like that will cause riots, genuine riots. But PSG are ruining football. They're ruining football. And we yell at people like Florentino Perez, but his challenge, if you were to call it that, is he involved in it? I actually don't know. But La Liga's basically complaint to UEFA or to FIFA or whatever governing body, people will laugh at that and people will sneer at that and people will be like, haha, you just lost him so you're angry. No, we should be actively hoping that something comes from this appeal. We should, as football fans, because as much as there's no winners in this case, by the way, because Real Madrid still fuck Real Madrid, right? They're a joke of a football club. But if something good can come out of this, then tick. Massive tick. We can't, like, we need this, like, football fans, please, we need this appeal to at least change something. Change the way that people can sign players, and change the way that people can use their money. PSG made a loss of something like 200 million. Something like that. Or they made 200, or they had a loss of 200 million more than they're allowed. Something along those lines. Yet they're just allowed to do this because of loopholes, or because PSG need to keep the best players so that XYZ can happen. Or if God forbid that they did something wrong, I'll just slip you an extra 4 mil, which is just back pocket change for some of these owners of PSG. I'll just slip you an extra 4 mil, keep it sweep it under the carpet. Here's 4 mil. Here's another mil to keep it quiet. Like, I am actively have a disdain and a dislike for the way that the direction football is going, which makes me appreciate teams like Brighton, Palace, Brentford a lot more, because they're doing this on budgets this small. This small. I mean, James Lawrence Alcott, if you don't know, I don't know why you wouldn't know. I'll leave a link to the video. He did like a points per money spent in the Premier League season. Fascinating video. Go watch it. And I'll also leave a link to his Mbappe video as well, because I've taken some talking points from that as well. Sorry, James, if you're watching, fuck me, send me a DM, please. You're not, but yeah. It goes beyond the point of, right, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Like I said, I keep saying that phrase. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Because like I said, you have teams in the lower half of Liga, teams in the lower half of the Premier League, lower half of the Bundesliga, like Eintracht Frankfurt, like Rangers, who are spending £4 million on players who are playing in their starting 11, right? And you have Kylian Mbappe signing a 300 million signing on bonus. I mean, we're not even getting onto the player power thing where he gets to decide coaches and sporting director. What the fuck does he know about being a sporting director or a technical director, whatever he's doing? What does he know about that? Why are you doing this? Why? He's not that. He's good. I get it. He's not that good. He's not that good. Trust me, pound for pound, probably the best player in the world. Yeah, I understand that. He's not that good. He's really not. 300 million signing on bonus and allowing him to change the coach whenever he wants, that good. Anyway, if this bites PSG in the ass, then good on him. I really don't care. Because at this stage, what the fuck are we doing? I'm just going to continue watching Brighton and Palace and Wolves and these clubs that are doing it the semi-right way, I guess. And I understand it's very rich coming from a Chelsea supporter. I understand that. It's very, very rich. But at least we didn't offer 300 million signing on bonus to a player. And at least we somewhat make our money back in terms of net profit. And at least we have a loan system that works and that gives us some money, and at least we have a youth academy, and at least we have all this stuff. But people will call me biased and people will call me whatever, but yeah, it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. So anyway, let's move on for that, and let's